This is the story about. This is going to be the very first one. It happened way back in the early '60s when I was just a baby. I was just a little kid. Uh, I wish I could tell you what year it was. It was 1963 or 1964. Um, it all started with me and my two brothers. I don't think my sister had yet been born. And my father, all standing out in the backyard of this place. And we were debating. Well, not me. I had no say. I was just a little kid, didn't understand anything. But my big brother, he was older kid, so he was starting to learn about things, and my father was just having it, trying to like ping pong some things back and forth about whether or not a tree should be cut down in the backyard, because I think it was just a tree that was kind of half dead, and well, would some bird get some kind of use out of it, or should we cut it down? What should we do? Anyway, there was a bunch of stumps, so I'm sure some other trees had already got cut down. And we were just kind of hanging out, you know, and I looked down on the ground and found an arrowhead, and it was a genuine arrowhead from what would have been I don't know what tribe it was, but it was Native Americans had made it many years before. And it was a really great find, but nobody paid much attention. I was just a little kid. Maybe they did. Maybe they thought it was something remarkable. But yep, that's what I found when I was a little kid. Um, and I don't know whatever happened to the tree, but I just remember if it wasn't that very night or night soon after, around that time, I had a bad nightmare. And in my dream, this is what happened. Okay, so they had built a house, and I was in the upstairs. Some call it a loft. But anyway, it was up the stairs, and that's where me and my brothers stayed. And in the middle of the night, there came upon a nightmare, and it was an incident whereas there were two couples. There was a couple of real big, fat people on the top of the stairs, and there was my mother and father, and they were just, my father was an average guy. My mother was very little woman, however tough as nails. Um, and the people at the upstairs had grabbed a hold of my two arms and were pulling me. And the ones, my parents on the bottom of the stairs had grabbed a hold of my ankles and were pulling at me, and I was being stretched. And they're like, what? One group would like be winning the battle and pulling me one way, and then the other would fight back and pull back the other way, and it was just very traumatic. And it went back on and on, where they just like one would gain ground and then the other would pull back, and there was screaming, and at the end of the dream, near the end of the dream, uh, they, my parents won, and they had pulled me back down the stairs away from those people, and the real fat people that lost grip of my wrist turned into sticks, the bone looking things, and they bounced up and down and went upwards into some kind of place, and they and then the dream ended. Okay, so now I when I woke up in the morning, I ran downstairs, and maybe there was a few folks at the breakfast table, but I explained the dream. I told them what happened, and they say, well, that's just, I'm sure they must have said, well, you just had a nightmare and this and that. Now I'm going to tell you what I think, what all this meant. See, I was so little that I don't think I understood. I don't think I'd seen any TV shows or was influenced by anybody to where I got any ideas of what got in my head and why that dream happened. So this is why I think that dream happened. I think what had happened was that they had built a house on a Native American burial ground, and the spirits decided that, okay, well, if you guys are going to be so, you're going to be so asinine as to just waltz in here and build a house on top of our sacred burial grounds, well, I think that we're just going to take your kid away. How you like that? So time went on, and fast forward to when I was approximately 18, I lost my virginity to a woman who was partly Native American. That's who I was a girlfriend, and she was half Italian and half Cherokee. So we eventually broke up after about 6 months, and then I ran back into her a little bit later, maybe a year and a half later, and I put the mathematics together, because when I ran back into her, she had a little boy, and she didn't really say all that much, but I just put the pieces to connected some dots, and I said, well, that could be my kid, because I didn't really know what I was doing. I could very well have impregnated her. But I think what happened was that the spiritual world had decided that, okay, well, let's just make a compromise, and since we didn't win that battle that day back in the early 60s, why don't we do it this way and arrange for these two to get together and have a baby that way? And now my son, he has Native American in his blood, and the spirits will be happy, and we have buried the hatchet. We've and that I don't know why she didn't want to get. That's another story of why we broke up and all that. But you see, now what I'm trying to get at is what started out as a horrible nightmare and a terrible mistake by somebody who didn't know what they were doing and built on Native American, disrespected the Native Americans. Now, it came to a happy ending, and I hope that my son belongs to the Cherokee Nation, or well, and maybe with a little help from the other folks involved, uh, is had been successful and is happy, and it all worked out. So that's how the deal was made. And it was a very bizarre story, but I just think that that's the conclusion I came to. And yeah, yeah, that woman was something. Yeah, she was something to behold. So yeah, we'll just end it there with a happy ending to the story. That there's my son has participated in the fulfillment of a prophecy, of a deal that was able to be worked out, and everybody got everything worked out.